Hi, welcome to Glow's Kindred Kitchen, and I'm Glow. Well, today I have decided to make some homemade chili, and I wanted to share this recipe with you. There's many different ways to make chili, and this one is fairly easy to do. And before we get started, I just wanted to share a little bit about the history of chili. There's many different varieties of chili, and surprisingly enough, I did not know until I was an adult that red chili like we're going to make today actually originated in the United States. And they believe it originated in San Antonio, Texas. And there was a gentleman that came up with a recipe that included dry beef along with the seasonings. And they would use that and take it over to the gold camps in California for the miners. And then they would put water with it to make the chili. So I just thought I'd share that with you because so many of our recipes originated in other countries, but this one did not. It's ours. So let's go ahead and get started. The first thing I did is I have about a pound of ground beef here. This is ground chuck. And I cut up one green pepper, there's about a cup here, and one yellow onion. You can see the size of the pieces. And what we're going to do, oh, and the ground beef I need to share with you. When I am cooking like a soup like this, or a chili in this case, I add a little bit of baking soda to this and a little bit of water, and I let it set for about 20 minutes to a half an hour. And I learned that trick from America's Test Kitchen, and the reason you do it, it helps the beef to brown better, but not dry out. So I don't know if you've ever had a chili where the ground beef in it tastes a little dry, and this will help prevent that as well as browning it. So the first thing I'm going to do is I have my pot here preheating on my stove, and it's set on a 4. So that's like a medium low. And I'm just going to drizzle some olive oil in here, probably about a tablespoon. We'll start with that. And I'm going to go ahead and take the beef and put that in here. You can hear it sizzling because the pan's hot. There we go. And to that, I'm going to go ahead and add in the green pepper. And the onion. Green pepper got stuck in there. I'm going to go ahead and kind of stir this up a little. And we'll be back probably in about 3 to 4 minutes, and I'll show you the next step. Well, our ground beef and our vegetables here have been cooking now for about 3 to 4 minutes, and you can tell that the beef is already starting to get pretty cooked. And I'm going to go ahead and start adding the spices. And you can tell there's not a very much grease in here. There is some of the water from the beef to keep that moist, and also from the onion and the green pepper, there's some water that's coming out of that as well. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put a couple of shakes of onion powder in it. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's maybe at the most a quarter of a teaspoon. And I'm going to do the same with the garlic powder. 2, 3, 4. And we may need to add more, but it's better to start off with a little less. So the next thing we're going to put in is the paprika. This is sweet paprika. You could use the smoked. The smoked definitely has a heat to it. So if you want that and make your chili spicy, you could do that. But we're going to be putting some other stuff in that's spicy too. So. And this is ground coriander. Ground coriander is actually, it's a Chinese parsley. It's cilantro is what it is. This is the seeds from it. And it has a sweet citrusy flavor to it, unlike the leaf of the cilantro plant. But it goes really well with chili. So I'm going to go ahead and put 1/4 teaspoon to start with of that. And let's see, let's do the oregano. We're going to start off with about a shy teaspoon of oregano. And then we got chili powder. And we're going to do, to start off, we're going to do 2 tablespoons. And then we have the cumin. Now I'm going to start off with 2 teaspoons of this. This has a really nice earthy flavor to it, and it just really enhances your chili. And I wanted to share with you too about chili powder. Chili powder is not just chilies. When you buy chili powder like this, it has other spices in it. Like, for example, there's probably garlic in this. There's probably some cumin in it. I would imagine there's some onion in it as well, and probably a little oregano. On this particular brand, it doesn't tell me exactly what's in it. I do know there's chili pepper, because that's what they have said, and then they say other spices. So, but I just thought I'd share that with you. There are some chili recipes where you grind your chilies, and I'll show you a recipe on how to do that. It's delicious, but in this particular recipe, this is what I use. And the other thing I'm going to put in is a bay leaf. I'm going to put it right in here. We're just going to mix all this up. I'm now going to go ahead and let this cook a little bit longer, and I'll be back with you, and we'll put the next ingredients in. Well, our ground beef is in the onions and green peppers, and the seasonings have been here browning for 8 to 10 minutes. And you can see that on the bottom there, that browning, you want that. That is added flavor to your chili. And it's just like when you make a gravy or any kind of a soup where you want that intense flavor, that's your friend right there. Don't get rid of that. So anyway, all the spices have become happy together. Some people call it blooming, the spices to, waken them up because they've been dried. But this is ready to go for the rest of the ingredients. And I'm not sure if you noticed, but I have not added salt to this yet, except for the ground beef when it was setting there for about 20 minutes to a half an hour with the baking soda and water. But, and that was just like at the most 1/4 teaspoon. But all these other ingredients have a little bit of salt in them. So I'm going to wait to the end and sample it to decide how much I need. And I'm probably going to be adding more cumin and more chili powder too, but we'll see. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to add our beans. And I don't drain my beans. These are dark red kidney beans. And that's what I prefer in my chili. And I did not drain this. And one of the reasons I don't drain it is it helps to make your chili a little thicker and also velvety. And this is a can of chili beans, which is pinto beans with different spices and seasonings. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in. You want all those seasonings in there because it'll really help complement your chili. Got a bean there that doesn't want to come off, but he's not going to win. So I'm going to go ahead and stir this up. And all that browning on the bottom is going to come off of there as this is cooking. As you can tell even now as I'm doing that, you can see where the browning has released and gone into your chili, and it just really enhances the flavor of your chili. So then the next thing is, this is a quart of tomatoes, and these are tomatoes that I canned. They're very ripe plum tomatoes, and they are whole, but they will break apart as this is cooking, and I include the juice and everything. And these will break down, like I said, as they're cooking, and you will never know there were whole tomatoes in here, but it just makes it really nice. And I do like it when you get a bite of tomato in your chili. So the next ingredient I'm going to put in is tomato juice. A lot of people don't use tomato juice in their chili, but my mother always did, and I like it. Our whole family likes it like that. So, and I'll probably start with about a half of this. A bit more.
What's content, the quantity on that, Ms. Chloe?
Good question. 46 fluid ounces.
Okay.
So that's like about 1.5 quarts. So I probably used 3/4 of a quart. And I may need to put more in. And the next thing I'm going to put in, you can put sugar in your chili. Some people put cane sugar, some people put white, some put, people put brown sugar. Some people put Worcestershire sauce in it, steak sauce. But today I'm going to be using this teriyaki sauce, and adds a really nice flavor to it. 1, 2, 3. That's what we'll start with. Then each one of those counts is about a tablespoon. So I'm going to let this warm up good, and I'll be back with you in just a little bit, and we're going to taste this, and I have one other ingredient to add, and then we'll continue cooking. Well, it's been about 5 minutes, and you can see how it's starting to bubble up. You don't want this to a roaring bubble, or boil by any means. I have my oven preheating to 275 degrees. Some days I cook this on my stove the entire time, but while this is cooking, I want to sit down and watch a movie. So by putting it in my oven, I'm not going to have to worry about it. I'll probably come in and after it's been in there about an hour and stir it, but it's not something that you have to babysit. So I'm going to go ahead at this point, and my next ingredient is a dry red wine. The reason I do that is because tomato can be acidic, and this will settle that down, and it just mellows it right out. So, and by all means, use a wine that you like to drink. Don't use a cheap wine like Boone's Farm or Ripple or something like that. And I would say you want to start off with like 1/4 to 1/3 of a cup. Some people, you can use vinegar in place of this, like 1 or 2 teaspoons. But we just kind of like the flavor of this. It just really enhances the dish. So I'm going to go ahead.
About how much wine was that, you think, Miss Chloe?
At the most 1/4 of a cup.
Okay, fine.
We might add more. Some people, I've seen recipes where people will put up to a cup in. So I don't know if that's really necessary, but
Whatever they like.
yep. So I'm going to go ahead and sample this to see how spicy it is, and if we need salt or some more of the teriyaki sauce. Well, it smells really good.
It does smell good, Miss Chloe.
I think maybe 1/4 teaspoon of salt. I'm going to put a little bit more Yoshidas in it, and probably 1 tablespoon of chili powder, so that'll make it 3. tablespoons. And I'm going to put in another teaspoon of cumin. So that would make that 1 tablespoon total of cumin. Oh, that's good. We'll sample it again here in a minute. So we're going to go ahead with salt. That's about half a teaspoon. And a tablespoon of chili powder. I'm going to do a half teaspoon of the cumin. So that was probably more like 1.5 teaspoons of the cumin. And some more of the teriyaki. 1, 2. That was probably about a tablespoon more. Let's stir that up. It just depends on how spicy you want it. If you don't want your chili very spicy, by all means, you know, don't add that additional tablespoon. That's the nice thing about, you know, cooking at home. You can cook it the way you like it. It's your kitchen. And this is going to thicken up as it's cooking in the oven. Let's try a little bit more of this. Oh, perfect. I'm going to add just a little bit more wine. 1, 2. So we probably have at the most 1/3 cup in here. And this is ready to go in the oven. And I'm going to be cooking this in the oven for about 2 hours. And when it's done, we'll be back and I'll show you it. Well, it's been 2 hours that this has been in the oven, and let's see what it looks like. Oh yeah, that's nice.
Smells good, looks good, Miss Glow.
Yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and stir this up. Look how nice that is.
Very nice, Miss.
So it's going to have to cool down in order for us to have it, but that looks delicious. So I'll be back in just a little bit and we'll be sampling this, and I hope you've enjoyed this. See you back in a bit. Well, our chili here has cooled off enough now that we can go ahead and eat. So I wanted to go ahead and stir this up. Oh yeah, look how good that looks.
Looks good, Miss Glow.
Smells delicious.
Smells good, looks good.
You can smell the chili and the cumin, and oh, this is going to be delicious. Oh yeah. So I've shredded some Colby Jack cheese here, and I'm just going to put that on top. Sometimes we serve this with sour cream and green onions. You can serve it with whatever you want. You could put Fritos in the bottom of this, serve it with cornbread, whatever you guys have at home. It's delicious. So I'm going to go ahead and try this. Oh, smells so good, you guys. I wish you were here to try this with us and have a bowl. This is delicious, you guys. The beans are just really good. The hamburger that's in this, the ground beef, is really good. Let me get another piece of the ground beef here. Oh, it's so soft, and oh, it's delicious. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this, and if you have, please like and subscribe to our channel. We would really appreciate it. And if you make this, let me know what you think about it and share with your friends. I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye.